Biblical counselor Darby Strickland has been releasing these books in the Comfort for Children in Hard Times series, which have been such helpful conversation tools for parents of kids who are dealing with loss, the effects of trauma or abuse, or facing a big change. And a big change happened. Wallace Whale finds out that he's leaving for a long journey away from the home and community that he knows and loves. Welcome back, Darby.
It's great to be here with you.
All right. So what are some common questions that children ask in response to change, and how should parents reply if they don't have an answer too?
Yeah, I think that's great. Children do not like change, right? They're creatures of habit. And we see that even if you change their nap time or their favorite TV show isn't on, right? Even in the small things, they signal to us they don't like change. Yeah. So common ways just to help them is tell them what you do know, what they can expect. Sometimes when a change is a big change, like a move or a school, parents don't always have the answers. So I think it's just best to say, I don't know, but I know God knows you. He knows your story. He is with you, and he's never going to lose sight of you. He is with you wherever you go. So we tell them what we can, but it's okay that we don't know everything.
Now, is it true when they say, if you're going to make a change, don't change too many things at the same time? Like, how can we address that?
In an ideal world, right? Sometimes I remember when I was 10, I moved across the country and everything changed all at once. But not everything has to at the same time, right? Like you can keep your child's routine the same bedtime routines, do whatever you can to keep what's familiar structure in your family life can stay the same.
It's like stability equals reassurance, I think, for kids.
Yeah, predictability equals security. And change just creates that unpredictability factor. But we can start to make it predictable for them, what they can experience, even in role playing. You think of kids going to a new school, you can help them by role playing. When you meet a new friend, how do you walk up to someone you don't know? Again, that's making that more predictable for them by them practicing. Hi, my name is so-and-so, right? Those little things help them navigate.
In what ways do children process change differently than adults?
I think we can name what we're concerned about. Children often can't. They often will ask questions about, about friends or what their bedroom will look like, but they don't know always how to unearth the bigger questions. Like, I am nervous. Will I be okay? Will anybody like me there? So we want to take their questions that they're asking us, answer them at face value, but probably provide a little bit more reassurance about what might be fueling such a question.
Every one of these books has an animal as the main character. And I'm going to mention this at the end too, but they all have this stuffed animal, which I love. I don't think anybody else is really doing this in this space. And it's because I think you've said in past interviews, just having something tangible to hold on to remind them. So why a whale in this situation?
We picked a whale, I think, because the book is based off of Psalm 139, and the Psalm just speaks about, going far as east and west and going down to the depths. And so to me, the best way I could visualize that for a child was the depths of the ocean and the change and the migration of the whale. So I felt like because the whales migrate from Hawaii to Alaska, it was a natural animal, but also just to create a different vivid environment where a child could see east, west, high, low. Yeah, the depth of the sea. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines in the book is where I had it written down and I just took it off, but I was like, how there's no depth too deep that God won't meet you there. I mean, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me, but I love that small, like tucked in there line. Is there a line or a phrase in the book that you like most?
I think it's just the whole idea. You're pick the one that I like the most, right? There's nowhere you can go that you escape God's presence, and he's going to follow you wherever you go. And I think it's just the whole idea that he surrounds them on their journey and that they can count on him when everything is changing. But that is one of my favorite. Yeah.
Okay, so once they arrive at their new home, how do we see the change actually bring on some good? And what's the takeaway here?
Yeah, some things are the same, which I think is helpful, right? They still are playing, they're still jumping and leaping, but some things are very different. It's very different, for them in cold water and mountainside. But yeah, their relationship between parent and child stays the same. Their ability to call on the Lord and remember his goodness and that he is with them wherever they go remains the same. But again, things are different. And I think just even acknowledging that for children is really helpful. He makes new friends, not the same friends, right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I seem to recall this is the third book that we've been able to discuss in this series, which really does not happen much on this feature. I love what you're putting out. That song and singing seems to have this theme throughout all your books. Obviously, you're nodding your head if those are watching on YouTube. Can you explain the intentionality there?
Yeah, I think with children, we try to rush them through hard things. And one of the things Scripture does so beautifully for us is it gives us these songs of lament. And one thing, even Wallace in his journey, they're kind of singing a sad song. Like he's telling the Lord, this isn't okay. There's not words in this particular book as there were with Sonny in the Lost Book. But yeah, I think there's one, I want children to be able to express their heart. We do that beautifully through music. The Psalms are music and Scripture. Two, it's memorable, right? Children learn through music and things stick with them through having music. So I think there's just a passive message to parents of, yeah, the beauty of playing music with scriptural truths is helpful. But I want children to be able to express themselves, the highs and the lows.
All right. Lastly, what can parents do to help prepare their child for impending change?
I think just sitting them down, having a conversation, saying, this is what's going to happen. This is what it's going to look like. Asking them if they have questions. I talked a little bit already about role playing if it's a new school. If the parents are going through a family situation, a situation, they could explain what they could expect, in the weeks and months ahead. It could be a new baby, all sorts of things. And then just constantly circling back and inviting them. Hey, do you have any more questions? Have you thought about things? One thing is helping children say goodbye. We don't often think of that, right? Helping children say goodbye, like their favorite Sunday school teacher, if it's a move, or their school, or they can tour a new environment before they have to go in by themselves, I think is really helpful. So I think as a parent, if you realize a child is most likely overwhelmed, you think about how do I anticipate and take some of the stress off my child, and that's to help them say goodbye, but also new hellos and feeling equipped to do that.
Well, obviously, as a counselor, you can't avoid having some really practical talking points and guide for parents. So you have that in the book as well. And there's one point that you didn't mention just now about how we can prepare our child for change that I really liked, and maybe you can just touch on it briefly, was allowing them to make small decisions about the change. So do you want to just elaborate on that a little bit before we wrap up?
Thanks for picking up on that. I think so. Like with it's a new school, they can pick out a new backpack. If you can, they can pick out new things for their new room. Yeah, it's just giving them, well, what would you like to see? Where would you like to meet friends? Do you want to try a new activity? So I think just putting the child of saying, yeah, you do. There's a lot of things in life as a child in our home, you don't have choices that are out of your control. But where as a parent can we help you make some choices and have some agency as God would want them to have?
Yeah. Well, it's so good. I mean, the biblical truth in here that continues to come up throughout the book is that God is, like you said, with you, around you, wherever you go, even through that change. So I love that we have this book with a little stuffed animal that people can get to just to remind kids with this. It's called A Big Change Happened, Helping Children Through Upheaval. Darby Strickland. Thanks again, Darby.
Thank you.